Howdy folks, welcome to the 10th in this series of YouTube videos. I can't believe that I have actually maintained the thought process to do 10 videos. Today we are going to look at some books that I purchased, what are we in June? In May. So let's get on to it. I'm JR. This is Digital Retribution. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see if the sound's a little bit different this time because over the last couple of days here at the Digital Retribution Country Estate, I have pulled up the carpet out of this room, so it may change the audio just ever so slightly. Also, I have a visitor in Chills, the Black Cat of Doom, whose bum you can see sort of, where is it? Just there. That's her bum, just there. See, I'm scratching the cat. And you might have noticed that the bookshelves are a little bit more packed because I have just sort of rejiggered all my stuff so I can get to it more easy. Okay, so let's get started. I didn't buy anywhere near as many books last month, and in actual fact, probably after I do my video next month, I will be drawing a line in the sand and not buying any more books until I've read a whole stack of them, because I've bought a shed load of books. If you can see up along here, this is my books that need to be read pile. So yeah, I really need to start powering through those. So I'll probably do more book reviews and less book purchase videos. So let's see how that goes. Anyway, let's get started. So the first thing is, a few weeks ago I showed you that I got Tim Waggoner's novelization of X. Of course, that has to follow up with, obviously, Pearl, which is the sequel to it. I am currently waiting on Maxine, but it's coming from the UK or something like that, so it's taking a little bit longer to get here. I really dig these because they're kind of like, they're like Mills and Boons size. Like, they're pretty tiny little books when you compare them to like a standard sort of novel size. Like, they're actually, that's like just an average size novel. So they're sort of like old giallo crime novels and stuff like that, so they're pretty cool. Can't wait to read this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till Maxine turns up, and then I'm going to read X, Pearl and Maxine, and then I'm going to go and watch all three films again, maybe review them for the site, probably for next year now, because I've actually almost finished all of my reviews for this year. I just finished the last review for Nicktoberfest, and I've already done November, so I've just got to do my Christmas ones, and I'm going to do something different for Christmas this year. But yeah, so Pearl was the first one. Tim Waggoner, who did Terrifier 2 and seems to do a lot of other novelizations. I didn't realize that people were doing novelizations of movies anymore, so this is great. I'm stoked with this because I loved those growing up. Speaking of novelizations, Session 9. The film from like 2001 or something like that. A film that I don't like. So I thought that I would get the book and just read if there's something more in the story that maybe I'm not smart enough to get. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's not you, but it's me, Session 9. But this is about some hazardous material guys who are going into an old asylum an old asylum, is that right? A state hospital, yeah. And there's more in there than asbestos. Wink, wink. So, yeah. This is one of these films that's eluded me. I so many of my friends and like respected people and stuff like that all go absolutely nuts for this film, and I don't know what I'm not seeing. So I thought that maybe the book would give me an opportunity to slap me across the face and tell me to wake up to myself. Next is this book, Restless Dreams by Victoria Redfield. I'd never heard of it before a few weeks ago. He's coming for me, the mysterious figure that loves to chase me in my dreams. Ever since I started having these dreams, every day feels like I'm tiptoeing on borrowed time, but when I finally come face to face with the demon of my dreams, my entire reality changes, and I find myself in the realm. I was told by someone that this kind of felt like it was an origin story for a Pyramid Head from the Silent Hill video games. So I like that character. I think that character has an interesting look. And so when somebody said that it kind of feels Silent Hilly and like the origin of Pyramid Head, I was like, I'm in. So I gave that a go. If that was you, Lauren, it may have been Lauren. Thank you for that one. The next one is The Slob by Aron Beauregard. I've bought a couple of Beauregard's books. I've got Yellow and I can't remember what the other one is. This one's about like a clean freak who becomes a professional cleanliness expert until she finds a house that almost breaks her. I think the concept of that is brilliant. There's actually, it's a nice piss take of the Blob, and there's also a son of Slob as well, which I'll probably look at after I've done a couple of these. This is one of those, those so-called extreme horror things that I sort of call bullshit on. All horror's extreme if you don't like horror. If you've only ever watched Disney films and you sit down and watch Paranormal Activity, that's going to be extreme horror. Paranormal Activity is extreme horror for my wife because like her favourite films are musicals and stuff like that. So I guess that extreme horror is a bullshit term. The Slob is a book that a lot of people talk about. And I thought that I would give this a whack. Now, a film that I really, really like is The Girl with All the Gifts. I found this in a Vinnie's, good old country town Vinnie's. Best thing about it was $2 price tag. I'll do that. If you haven't seen Girl with All the Gifts, set in the future, it's kind of like George Romero's Day of the Dead, in so much as there is a facility where they have some zombie children who they are experimenting on, basically. It's a fascinating idea. Every morning Melanie waits in her cell to be collected for class. When they come for her, Sergeant Parks keeps his gun pointing at her while two of his people strap her into a wheelchair. She thinks they don't like her. She jokes that she won't bite, but they don't laugh. So great film, and it's got Paddy Considine, Glenn Close, and oh my god, I've forgotten her name. She was in the first St. Trinian's film, and I think played Strawberry Fields in Quantum of Solace. I can't think of her name, but and like if Murray, Claire, and Joss Whedon talk about how amazing it is, how could it not be amazing? So, considering the kind of lightweight story that you'd think it would be, it's a chunky book. I don't mind. Chunk is good. I like them big. I like them chunky. Let's see how this goes. I will report back. Now, this is one that I've been meaning to get around to because it's I've watched the first series on Netflix and thought that I should give this a go. It's The Witcher, the first Witcher book. I hope it's the first Witcher book. But yeah, so I figured that while I'm on a little bit of a fantasy kick, another thing that I do in my spare time is I play a lot of board games. I like Conan and stuff like that. I paint miniatures, and they're almost all sort of medieval stuff. So fantasy's pretty much in my wheelhouse, like horror and sci-fi is. Ideally, like a lot of people who like to read and like that sort of stuff, I'd like to write a horror fantasy novel. So maybe an extreme horror fantasy novel, but I'd like to do something that's like Sarah J. Maas sort of fantasy, but a little bit more. You know what I mean? 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 I've decided to give the Witcher series a go. I had a choice of buying like a box set for $50 or $60 or just giving the first one a go. So I thought I'd give the first one a go. If I like it, I'll buy the box set and then I'll just give this to charity or something like that. Charities, Vinnie's has been good to me lately, so maybe they could do with a few more books in their collection. Speaking of a collection of books, and speaking of those box sets, I was in Big W, good old Big W, Big Wank, a few weeks ago, and noticed that there was a particular box set of horror books that was a pretty good price. And, you know, I always look at the book collections because I like the idea of getting everything all at once. I almost bought the Enola Holmes ones because I've enjoyed the films and I'm a Sherlock Holmes fan. You can't see it, but up here, about here, you can just see his pipe. That's a Sherlock Holmes bookend just there. I'm a bit of a fan of Sherlock Holmes, so, but that's got nothing to do with this story. What this story does actually have to do with is I bought a box set of 20 Goosebumps books. Now, the interesting thing about Goosebumps is that my daughter, who's now almost 30, she read these books when she was a kid and she loved them. She told me all about them. Her and I consumed all of the other Goosebumps related media, but I've never actually read them myself. So I thought that maybe it's time. And this was from $119 down to $50. $50 for 20 books. What's that? What's maths? What is maths? $2.50 a book? Is that right? $2.50 a book? Something like that. So even if I only get $2.50 value out of each book, I think that's worth it. And if my understanding is correct, and you might know better than me, but it is the first 20 books. So it's got like The Mummy, You Can't Scare Me. It's got How I Got My Shrunken Head. It's got the Camp Jelly Jam one, Say Cheese and Die, Haunted Mask, Night of the Living Dummy. So all of the ones that everybody knows are in that box set. But I have a video planned for this later on after I have consumed the whole lot. So I thought that was a pretty fun thing to do, to go through and read all of those books that my daughter loved when she was much younger. Now, my next two books, I'm just going to take a quick drink of water. I am drier than it's drier than a you-know-what, and it's, I kid you not, in the New South Wales country up in the Upper Hunter region, it is colder than a witch's tit. And so I've actually, in here, like I said previously, we've pulled the carpet up in the entire house now. This was the last room to do it, and the reason it was the last room is because these bookcases, these Kallaxes all had to sort of come out. Like all of the books had to be emptied and then refilled, so that's obviously a big old job. I must admit though, they're more organised now, so I've got all of my horror and movie and Doctor Who books on these top couple of shelves, and then I've got sort of movies and stuff on these shelves here. Like comics and stuff on the shelves from where I'm having trouble with my hands, from where this Margot Robbie statue to this Marvel thing is. And then down at the bottom I've got some true crime stuff, and then a whole pile of like my Fangos and stuff like that, which are sort of over here. But yeah, so I've got the heater on in here as well. So if you can hear a mild ticking in the background, it's just my oil heating, stopping my balls from freezing so much that they'll disappear into my body, never to be seen again. Anyway, the last of these two books, both books that are based more in the history of cinema and stuff like that, and I like that sort of shit. And I couldn't resist this. Having a black cat myself, I couldn't resist buying the book Meow. Cats in Horror, Sci-Fi, and Fantasy Films. So this talks about like just cats, the history of cats in film. It has what they call an extensive cat movie list. It's got best cat moments, some behind-the-scenes insights on how they trained the cats and when multiple cats are used and stuff like that. And then there's some reviews and personal recommendations to help you find your next cat movie. But it's sort of, you know, there's all sorts of things from Night of 1,000 Cats. There's a whole, it's not just sort of cat's eye, like even down to thing like Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, the Giallo. There's a whole pile of stuff in here that have sort of cats in there. The Legacy from 1978. There's a whole pile of stuff in here. Even like Gremlins, The Monsters Club, Inferno. They go through a whole pile of books that featured cats. Not necessarily the cornerstone of the film. It's not like this is a movie about cats. It's not like Flo or Gato or something like that. It's actually cats that were in those types of films. And this, if this cat here had a little white spot on their chest, it would look exactly like my cat Jill's. And because she's my best buddy, she's not here though, fucking bitch. She's bailed on me like cats do. I thought that, yeah, this will be an interesting book. Vanessa Morgan's an author as well. She wrote Strangers Outside, A Good Man, and Next to Her. Apparently The Strangers Outside was all three of those were movies. I think The Strangers Outside might actually be the book that The Strangers was based on. Anyway, Meow. Looking forward to getting stuck into that one. And finally, this is by Stephen Jones, the respected horror journalist who seems to turn up in everything. And I love these sorts of books. These are great. Forward by Joe Dante. This is Videotapes from Hell. The visual history of cult collectible and crazy video covers. And I couldn't resist this. I love this sort of stuff. I've got a bunch of course I go straight to the Video Nasty Evil Dead UK edition. But it's just like, talks about all the Bloodbath of the House of Death. I love that movie so much. That's so ridiculously stupid. But yeah, so it's got a whole pile of, oh look, Happy Birthday Reanimator. Yeah, there's Herbert West. Yeah, so it's got some pretty cool covers. God, look at that. Look at that one with the skull on it. What's that? Some awesome stuff. Anyway, I've barely even opened this, just because a whole pile of stuff came at the same time. And I'm really excited about this. Horror of the Blood Monsters. What a corker of a name. Anyway, so yeah, is that Brink Stevens? Fantastic, even Brink Stevens is on the cover. Videotapes from Hell. Couldn't resist it. I've got like History of the B-movie posters. I've got like Empire's 4 big books that break down like horror movie posters, sci-fi posters, fantasy posters, and action. Anyway, whatever it is. But yeah, I thought that was another cool book, and that'll sort of go in and amongst all of this sort of stuff. As you can see, like there's like the Mondo movie poster book, and I've got the matching one about Mondo vinyl and stuff like that. So yeah. But that, my friends, was my haul for that month. It's getting less and less, as you can see, because I need to start reading this stuff and not just look like I'm hoarding books. Please don't look behind me, because it does even further suggest that I am actually hoarding books. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you check out the Instagram Digital Retribution Oz. Also, have a look at the website www.digitalretribution.com. Reviews going up there fortnightly. Like I said, we're in the middle of June, where I've just done 2 of the June movies, and another one I think I did. David Lynch's came up last Saturday, and next one comes up this Saturday. I haven't done any of the New Millennium Junes. I've only done some of the older ones at the moment. Then we're sort of just doing a couple of months of just movie reviews. Then we go into Nicktoberfest. Then we're going to have a month of sort of not Christmas adjacent. It's just sort of things that I wanted to do something. I wanted Christmas to be a little bit more fun and light. So we're going to do some more funner and lighter films for Christmas. January will be normal, and then of course in February it's Too Fast to February, where I throw a whole pile of car-related films in. What happens after that, I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. I think being 6 months ahead is pretty good. It's it used to be that there would go for months where I wouldn't get anything published, and now that I've got a fortnightly schedule and a weekly schedule for this, this seems to be suiting me a lot better. Mind you, I have no idea what the fuck I'm going to do next week. I guess I better read a book so I can do a book review, right? Thank you for watching. You've been awesome. I've been JR. See you next time.